Welcome everyone to this episode of the Mortgages by Gretchen show, where I talk to real people in the field of real estate who are not only experts, but they are very generous and willing to share their knowledge and their wisdom with all of us here. The goal of the show is to gain some information and some tips to help you with your real goals in owning real estate and finance, and to take some of the guesswork out of what to do or who to call when you need help in the process. Today, I have Brennan Trenouth. Am I saying your name correctly, Brennan?
Brennan Trenouth.
Trenouth with me.
Yes.
I've known Brennan a long time. I just don't usually have to say his last name. Brennan is a business development manager, or what we call a BDM in the world of mortgages, with Home Trust Company. And Home Trust offers mortgages and credit cards, as well as investment products through, I guess, another division. And I've worked with Brennan many years. I don't know, Brennan, do you know how many years?
Quite a few, I guess.
Quite a few.
I've been at Home Trust for 9 years, so
Okay.
Somewhere along the lines there.
Okay, that's good. So quite a long time. And Brennan's role with myself is he educates me about their products, their criteria, their focus, to help me to better place borrowers with Home Trust as a lender and provide better solutions. And he also helps out if I'm in the middle of a process and having a challenge. He can help me to troubleshoot or to push things forward as needed. So he's very valuable in that role as well. So Brennan, maybe in your own words, tell us more about what you do and who you help.
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me, Gretchen. Really appreciate the invite. So everybody, my name is Brennan Trenouth. I am a business development manager with Home Trust. I service the Markham and Durham region for our broker partners. I've been with Home Trust for about 9 years now, holding both underwriting and sales roles during my time here. I work with our amazing broker partners to help find mortgage solutions that fit their clients' needs. And I also need to note that these are my personal views and not the views of Home Trust. So I just need to put that in there.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so Home Trust is a lender that offers both best rate mortgages, similar to the big five banks. They also offer alternative mortgages, and they offer lines of credit. They service a huge range of people because of the big product offering that they have. And for those people who don't know what is an alternative mortgage, what that is in comparison to, say, what you would get on a or bank mortgage, what's the difference?
Yeah, so I mean, an alternative mortgage is really for clients that just don't fit within that box within the big banks, right? So it could be due to total debt servicing requirements. It could be caused by, bruised credit from some sort of life event that a client might have suffered, or even self-employed clients that, don't necessarily report true earnings on their NOAs. So luckily for us, we do have a range of solutions that fit many different client needs.
Okay, and with those, to give you more details, I guess, an A mortgage right now, you might be at 2% versus this, and probably no lender fee involved unless you're paying a CMHC fee. On the alternative side, maybe give a little idea of what rates and fees look like.
Yes, no, for sure. So yeah, you're seeing relatively low rates across the board, historically low rates. In the insured space, yeah, you're looking at, in around that 2% range, maybe a little bit lower, a little bit higher, depending on the rate and term, or depending on the term that you're looking for. When it comes into the alternative space, I mean, I really do hate talking about rate because it's more of a solution-driven product more than anything else. I think rate should be the last piece to discuss, but you are seeing low rates right now in this economy that we're in. So you might be starting, from 3% and up, depending on your overall situation, depending on the product that we're looking at as well, because different products start at different ranges for sure.
Yeah, the reason I bring that up is sometimes people don't realize there's the 2% and then there's the 7 or 8% maybe private mortgage. They don't realize there is an in-between that's extremely reasonable, not that much more than the best rate, and it's a great solution. So that's But I agree with you. Yeah, you've discussed the solution first, and then make sure the picture and the rate and the payment all make sense for the clients.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, what are some scenarios that you run into with the alternative mortgages? You did mention an example of like self-employed Bruce credit. Any other types of clients?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we specialize in helping Canadians underserved by the traditional banking system, right? So I think now more than ever, especially with COVID and the current economy that we're in, there's a great need for alternative mortgages at this point in time. The hard part for us in being in the alt space is that no two deals are the same. So there's many different scenarios that we deal with. So it's hard for me to kind of pinpoint exactly what we do, but we look at a range of everything, right? So I will say that we do have a specialized underwriting department who reviews every application on its individual merits to determine, just how we can help these clients out, right? So we see deals where clients might have existing mortgage arrears, tax arrears, income tax arrears, that sort of thing. We are in the business to try and help clients, realize their home ownership dreams. So either getting a home or staying within their home. So in those situations, we do what we can to try and help clients stay within their homes. We also look at files where clients have lost their jobs as well, right? And especially during COVID, we've seen a lot of unemployment throughout the last 6-7 months too. So we try and do our best to offer a solution to help with their current situation. We do specialize in self-employed clients as well, and we take a very common sense approach to understanding the client and their business. Alternative lending is about finding a solution that works for the client and the lender combined.
I love that, and I also appreciate your term. You said underserved by the traditional options. That's key. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no, and I mean, Home Trust was founded, over 30 years ago, and it was at that point in time determined that there was a need for those types of clients who were not being serviced by the big banks. So, we've been in the industry for a long enough time to know exactly, how we can help and what we need to do to help.
And you kind of touched on this already. So maybe kind of the values and the focus and the vision for Home Trust. I guess that's part of what you just said.
Yeah, so one of our biggest values at Home Trust is on uncomplicating things, right? So I think we do an amazing job at understanding each application, each client. Like I said, take a very common sense lending approach on the income source as well. And from there, we're able to determine the best solution possible for your clients. Knowing your business is another key value. And with Home Trust, like I said, being around for over 30 years, and essentially creating the alt-A space, I'd say we're very good at understanding our business. There's a lot that's happened over the last 6-7 months. We've gone through a lot of different regulation changes over the past few years as well. And I think we've done a great job at keeping up to date with these changes and adapting to the new environments that we're seeing ourselves in at this point in time. Another one, I think we want to continue to amaze our business partners with our solutions and service. We have an amazing sales team coast to coast. We have an amazing underwriting team coast to coast, who are here to help you find the right solution for your clients. So I think those would be like the biggest takeaways of Home Trust values and, how we're here to help, and we want to continue helping Canadians for years to come.
And from my point of view, you are achieving those things. I see the ability with Home Trust to find amazing solutions for people that work and maybe are overlooked by other institutions, but that makes sense, and they're solid solutions, and they create a path for improvement in someone's life. So
Yeah, absolutely. And in most cases too, it is a stepping stone as well. And like I said, a lot of times when we deal with clients with bruised credit, there's been a life event that has happened. So, really just looking at the current situation, understanding what happened, assessing the risk on the file, and then moving forward at that point in time. The end goal, I think, for most clients is to be able to, get back to, an A mortgage. So sometimes this is also a great stepping stone in that path. And I think you mentioned it earlier as well. Some people don't realize that there's, the insured space. And then there's also, that private world as well, but there is that us in between those. And a lot of times we see a lot of files going into the private space where, if we had a bit more information, took a bit more time to understand the overall deal, that's probably an Alt A client right there. And in turn, you are providing a better financial solution for them at that point in time.
Yeah, makes sense. I get a lot of people right now who are in a situation where they have a mortgage. It's partway through the 5-year term. They know if they were to break that mortgage to get a new mortgage, they would have a penalty, and maybe they can't qualify to increase that mortgage at this time. So they're looking for an alternative. And how do you address that need for some more funds, but not breaking the first mortgage?
Yeah, so we have a great product called the Equity Line Visa. It can go into first or second position, and what it does is it allows clients to access the equity in their property without having to refinance their existing first mortgage that they may or may not have with one of the banks, right? So allowing clients to tap into that equity for whatever the case may be. Some scenarios that we see obviously is clients with bruised credit. There's been a life event that has happened. They probably have incurred more expenses. Credit cards are maybe maxed out, whatever the case may be. So a lot of clients looking to debt consolidate at that point in time. We see a lot of self-employed individuals as well looking for a business operating line of credit. So that could be a great solution for them as well. And any other sort of, life event expense that, might be forthcoming, such as like a wedding or, tuition for a child going to school, whatever the case may be. So our Equity Line Visa would be a great product for a client that's currently locked in. Might incur a large penalty to break that mortgage, and maybe there might not be a guarantee that they can actually qualify again for the bank for that increase, right? So more so just staying put, accessing the equity in your property right now with the Home Trust Equity Line Visa. I think it's a great product that we have as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's awesome. When someone is making their decision about what kind of mortgage to get with who, what would you say are some of the key things they should consider when making that choice?
I think, and I'm not a financial advisor by any means, but I think, individuals need to determine what solution they're looking for to begin with, and then they can determine what or which lender can provide them with that solution to help their financing needs. I think now more than ever, it's important to speak with your mortgage broker, who can help you with these decisions and determining, where you can qualify, what kind of rates are out there for you that will help you with those kind of financial goals and needs that you have in mind. So I would kind of just leave it at that. A broker would be able to help you in determining the best route to go, and kind of, putting in a plan and action as well, if it's just a temporary solution for something here to move forward for something greater in the future, right?
It makes sense. One thing I love that you personally have been involved in, and that I have a great passion about, and I'm sure many people do, is that you encourage mental wellness, mental health, and that you do your golf tournament every year. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we just hosted our 8th annual charity golf tournament just last week. This was our 7th year that the proceeds have been donated to the Canadian Mental Health Association. Mental health and wellness is such an important part of our lives, and yet nobody really talks about it. There's still a huge stigma attached to mental illness. So it's important for us as leaders within the industry to really bring it out to the forefront and actually talk about mental health and mental illness. Just to kind of put things in perspective for many people that will be watching, some facts about mental illness. So in any given year, 1 in 5 Canadians will personally experience a mental health problem or illness. However, each one of us will be directly affected by mental illness, whether it's through a family member, friend, or colleague. And mental illness affects people of all ages, education, income levels, and cultures. So it's part of everybody, and nobody is immune to it, right? So a couple other statistics, it's estimated that 10 to 20% of Canadian youth are affected by mental illness or disorder. By age 40, about 50% of our population will have or have had mental illness. Some other, staggering numbers here. Suicide accounts for 24% of all deaths among 15 to 24-year-olds and 16% among 25 to 44-year-olds. And suicide is one of the leading cause of death in both men and women, adolescents to middle age, with that rate of men being 4 times higher than women. So you can see it is extremely important for us to talk about mental health and illness. It's also very important to raise funds for mental health initiatives and work towards ending that stigma.
Yeah, excuse me. Those are really powerful numbers, and Home Trust contributes as well. Joins. Maybe you can explain that while I have a sip of water.
Yeah. So I mean, it's such an important piece of our of our lives that you really need to focus on mental illness and mental health. Home Trust, we started this 8 years ago in memory of my father, who was working at Home Trust at the time. Overall, it's just grown into something a lot bigger than we actually thought it would. It's probably one of the largest charity events within at least the mortgage industry across Canada that you see on a yearly basis. I know this year, there was a lot of tough decisions to be made. We obviously went through with it at the end of the day with everybody's health in mind. So, the golf course that we hosted at does a really good job at making sure that, all the social distancing rules and guidelines were in place and that sort of thing. So it's just a really, really important piece of Home Trust culture now, moving forward. We're in our 8th year now, going on to the ninth tournament for next year. So yeah, I mean, it just plays a vital role within our industry, raising awareness and raising very much needed funds for the Canadian Mental Health Association.
Yeah, and you do match donations, which I think is extremely generous for anyone who is donating.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the great things about Home Trust is, especially within this tournament and this charity, is that we do match the donations. So any little bit helps, and then it gets doubled too. So it's very, very good.
Yeah, well, I think what you do is great, and I'm grateful for that for all of us. So
thank you.
So what would be one last piece of advice you have for Canadians today?
Wear your mask, if I can say that. I know times are tough. We have to laugh a little bit too, right? I would just say, stick to your financial plan. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There's a lot of changes happening within Canada, within the world, within our economy. So make sure you're asking the questions. There's no wrong question. And you know what? Don't be afraid to ask for help as well. I mean, in speaking with mental health and mental illness, these times have been very difficult amongst, majority of Canadians over the last 6-7 months. So, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's a lot of resources out there. What we try and do through the charity tournament is raise funds for those initiatives as well. So, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You might feel afraid, but I guarantee that if you ask somebody for help, they'll listen as well. So just stick to your social groups, wear your mask, and we'll get through this together.
Perfect. Well, I'm really grateful for all of your advice today, and winding it up with that is really special. And so thank you so much for being here, and I'm excited for everyone to hear all the great tips and info that you shared today.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Oh. Are you still there?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to trim off